What you might want to let go of in and from the home as she hits that south node entrance point around July 9th and 10th is something to do with ninth house things. Could be letting go of an addiction that you pursue in your home, but it could also be letting go of things connected to digital income, revenue from international sources. Hello, Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. We're talking today about the merry month of July 2026. This is your astrology forecast. We have amazing stuff happening. We have a once-in-a-lifetime, very rare formation in the second half of the month. It's thousands of years rare, and we're going to talk about the game-changing impact on your sign. We're also going to see Jupiter moving around the sky into a positive place for you that really allows for some greater expression and communications flow, prosperity and ease, not only in July, but for the next year. And when I took a look at that old Mars activation for you, you won't believe what's coming. Mars spending the nodes of fate with a shock and awe Uranus in your sign. You are going to shock yourself and the world by what you declare. And when it comes to matters of money and earnings, be a little cautious because you're going to change your mind. What you think you're going to do around job, money, and earnings might not exactly be the thing you're going to stick with. So we're going to explain why. We have retrogradations this month, of course, Mercury at the very tail end of the month, Saturn. It's a big deal month with a lot going on. So let's break it down. Welcome. My name is Lori Lothian, and this is Western Tropical Zodiac Astrology. And of course, we always use the whole sign house system, the ancient house system that actually works. In today's video, we're going to talk about your world week by week and day by day. So get ready to settle in for 30 to 40 minutes to take some notes and to plot your best life, time your best life, navigate your best life using astrology. Speaking of which, I'm teaching my astrology course for the 7th year in a row. Every September, once a year, I open enrollment for Sky Reader. It's called Time Your Best Life and Be Your Own Astrologer. It's to learn the basic sky language, to read the sky like you read sheet music. Once you learn how to read the sky and you learn the 2 simple but effective timing tools I will be teaching in that class, ancient timing tools, then you'll be able to not only understand your chart a bit better and what it's all about, but also use it for moving in the best positive directions in your own life and avoiding the pitfalls. So come join me in Sky Reader, Introduction to Astrology course, 7 weeks long, weekly Q&As, a Discord and or Facebook group to meet other students. I have teaching assistants, and we have 4 guest teachers with bonus courses and more. In the description box below is the enrollment link and or the wait list, depending on when you're watching this video. And this is July's super deep discount, early bird, super duper rate. By the end of July, that rate no longer applies, and we move into another rate as this course starts in September. You want to get ahead of the game and maybe be early bird discount. All right, so let's get started. Thanks for being here if you're new, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you're one of my regulars, thank you for being a part of my world. All right, so I can connect a bit to what Geminis are going through with my Progress Gemini Sun. And I, by the way, never tell you to listen to progress planets first and foremost. You still need to look at the natal code, and the progress code is secondary, but it still is useful to know. So let's go ahead and bring up the sky so you can see what's happening and make some sense of it. I might talk a bit fast to get as much as I can in here, including 2 lunations, but keep in mind that you can slow me down on the playback speed with the gear icon. Please take notes and don't forget to settle in. So as we begin the month ahead, the first thing I've said that happens of any note is Jupiter's transition here. On June 30th, Jupiter moves into Leo. The Leo sky is your 3rd house. This is an excellent place for prosperity because after Jupiter has transited through your 2nd house for a whole year, June 10th of 2025 to June 30th of 2026, this was like planting golden seeds in your money, earnings, resources, possessions house, and now he's ready to hatch them. So quite often, this is going to be a very auspicious, prosperous year ahead that starts on June 30th and ends in the summer of 2027. And you might be prosperous in writing, in marketing and selling, in teaching and learning. Now, if you learn anything with Jupiter here, like I will be learning Vedic astrology with this fellow named Aswin, Subramanian, can't say his last name. I probably am going to be the right place at the right time for the right teacher, just as I used to be in 2018 with my first teacher, Adam Ellenbus. So it's like what you learn is blessed by Jupiter. What you teach is blessed by Jupiter. What you communicate, right? I'm going to say this is very auspicious for starting those things. And it's also bounteous for your siblings. They get more richer and prosperous, particularly maybe a sibling one younger than you. And it's protective of siblings in general, especially a sibling one younger than you. And finally, if you have any kind of creative impulse around, like you're in the social media sphere and all of that, writing, communicating, marketing, selling, teaching, learning, scrying and divining, third house storylines, then guess what? You're bountiful, you're expansive, you're growing, and you're joyful. So keeping that in mind, that's where Jupiter starts off this month. We see Mars crossing a sign boundary after several weeks in Taurus where he's debilitated. Poor guy. He was in your 12th house, deep soul work, trying to eliminate things that get in the way of your happy dappy life, May 19th to June 28th, and working on the inner planes, especially around substance abuse and addiction, maybe. But he's left, and now he's moved good old Mars into your first house, and he'll be here, goodness gracious, June 28th to August 11th. He can only move through your first house once every 2 years, more or less, for about 6 weeks. And when he's here, you have a sword in your hand. Now, what does that mean? Sounds scary. You have a discerning ability to choose, to cut, to sever, to end what it is you need to cut, sever, and end. Downside, Gemini rising. Don't forget, rising sign is your simulation avatar character. Don't forget, the sun is your career and your career matters. Don't forget, the moon is your body, and or like the ascendant is your body, and the moon can be your body too. But the moon is also your home and nest, right? And your emotions. So if you're like a progressed sun, I have a sun in Gemini. It's not a sword on my body. So in other words, I'm not going to injure myself. But I will say that Mars Uranus co-joined on the ascendant of a Gemini person, right? Especially if your ascendant is in the first 4 or 5 degrees of Gemini. Be careful. Be careful you don't injure yourself, okay? This is like falling off a ladder or jumping off a cliff or slipping down a hill or, I don't know, falling out of a high space through the air or injuring your arms, your shoulders, or your hands. Gemini energy rules that. And lung injuries and inflammation as well. So be cautious with all of those areas of reality for ascendants and Sun, ascendant Gemini, first 5 degrees. Otherwise, for the rest of us, this is a story not just about potentially injuring ourselves. I'm going to break it down for the first week. It's a story about having a dynamic electric breakthrough, break free, charge forward. Decisions are acute, they're intelligent, they're well-formed, they're based on genius and a sense of electrical currents, of divine sparks of Promethean fire moving through you. Is pretty powerful. And I think that the way you decide things during this time, you're adaptable and flexible because of the mutable sign between June 28th and August 11th, but you're choosing with a Uranian flavor, which is profound and squaring the nodes of fate. We'll get to that in a minute. Also, Mercury. Mercury is in retrograde as the month begins. He started retrograding on June 30th or 29th, I believe. He turns direct on the 24th of the month. He finishes retrograde around the 23rd. It's kind of around that, time zone dependent. And basically these weeks of retrogradation, that you started the shadow material on June 12th. Anything that was in play June 12th through to about August the 3rd is in the shadow zone. So you have to be cautious that the things that have been going on June 12th that will go on to August 3rd, because it doesn't leave your second house until August 9th. You're not going to know which way to go, because every time we have a retrograde Mercury here, we want to spend or buy or make decisions about our money, our work, our employees, our employer structures, our career and ambitions. And we want to make those clean mercurial decisions, make up our mind. And we don't know how to do it yet because retrograde is giving us more information that we need. So be patient. This retrograde information will come to you. I'm saying don't make any major life-changing financial, work, money, career, employee decision types things. Do not make those decisions fully. Don't lock and load on a contract or anything like that until Mercury goes direct, July the 23rd. Okay? Now, and even so, the shadow period doesn't end, the post-shadow, until around the 3rd of August, I think. So be patient, take your time, explore options, let the retrograde show you what you don't know and can't see. Although, of course, money from the past and and possessions from the past could return to you as well. Now, yes, Saturn does retrograde around the 26th, 27th of the month. We're not covering that in this video for a good reason. It's its own epic story. And the retrograde for the last 3 or 4 days of the month is not important. It's what it does over the next 3 or 4 months after. So we'll do that in a separate video, not this one. As we begin the month ahead on July the 1st, we're week by week now. We're moving into the week by week story. As we do that, and you are Mercury ruled, so pay attention to my guidance I just gave you, okay? As we begin the month ahead, we'll see the first thing is Chiron has entered into Taurus. In Taurus, he is sussing out and checking out a new wound. He wants to show you where you're wounded when it comes to your spirituality, your spiritual liberation, your moksha, could have some wounds with hidden enemies, wounds with the way you self-undo. You're your own worst enemy with regards to addiction, self-undoing, bad habits and patterns. Maybe even some wounds regarding connections to foreign money, foreign influence, like the way you make money internationally. And there's a bit of a chironic wound. Jupiter will tap that wound in a square on July the 1st. This square from Jupiter, it just feels like wisdom, truth, and knowledge are trying to point the way. Jupiter wants you to see what is true. It's in your social media, marketing, selling, communicating, writing, traveling, short distance house. There could be a chironic wound around any of those things connected especially to digital income, borderless revenue, or even to traveling abroad to far off places and shores. And as soon as Jupiter, especially opposite Pluto, connecting to the chironic wound, activates a T-square, there may be trips that you were thinking of taking, domestic or abroad, that you're realizing now you're going to have to cancel them. The wound is like, no, this is not the right time. This doesn't feel appropriate. So listen to your inner instincts around July the 1st, around travel plans, whether it's in the long run you were going to travel or even in the short run, maybe change your mind. On the energy of the first week of July, it's dominated by Mars. Mars squaring the nose, Mars trining the outer planet, sextiling. It's a big deal. It's rare and it's epic. Mars will bend the nodes of fate. He can only possibly do this every 18 years in this particular way, which I don't believe he did. So it's epically rare and wonderful. Mars is in Gemini and he's telling the North Node, okay, and the South Node, who are the fates and who drive the roller coaster ride of our lives, I have some action we need to take, and it's going to be destined and fated. But who's taking the action? Most of the time, you are. Mars is the sword in your hand. Mars is the cutter in your possession. Mars is the decider in your court. So you will choose, you will decide, you will make a cutting, bifurcating of your timelines here. And you're looking at bending the node of career. So while you want worldly success and expansion and have been having it for the last 18 months, is the juice worth the squeeze? Because something's going to change. You're going to make a shocking electric breakthrough choice, decision, or action in the first week of July that's going to change the trajectory of your career. And for some of you, it may even change the trajectory of how you connect to money in and from your home, because the South Node in your house of your home, Mercury ruling it in the house of possessions and money, changes too. Like, for example, how you make money from your home can change, just as your career can change as well, or your home may be under a readiness to change. I don't think that for you that you have to worry about being in harm's way unless in the first week of July, you're a Gemini rising and you're in the first 4 degrees, 5 degrees of Gemini. And then, yes, then I'm going to caution you that you don't want to be in an injury mode. So be cautious. End of story, especially injuries in and from the home. Moving past that story, so we just notice as all that bending of the nodes and deciding is happening, you also get the Mars, flowing to 2 planetary bodies or more. He flows to Pluto. Yay, he flows to Neptune, right? So what you do with that mini trine energy, if you want, is you up-level your dharma. You move into a greater alignment of purpose in a transformational way. You make agreements and contracts with people in industries that are international or connected to writing and book publishing. And you get a dream opportunity that feels like a friend, ally, and benefactor just gave you a stepping stone to something amazing, a leg up and a hand up. and it feels like a dream come true, career opportunity from a friend or a favor from someone in a high place. Maybe that's why you make a decision to exit stage left or make some changes in your career path because something better or more exciting has come along. So pay attention to the whole first week of July, but most intense perhaps around July 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Yes, we keep going because on the date of July the 5th, Mars will trine, on the date of July 6th, the Sun will square Saturn for an illumination of a difficult situation for your consideration. Well, the Sun is in your money, earnings, and possessions house on July the 6th. And what you might do is light it up. Like you can see what you've got in your bank account. You know what you're doing with your finances. This is your earnings as well. It's all lit. Saturn is sober realism. And this is the gains of your career. You just might be having one of those moments where you're taking a sober, realistic spotlight into the measured pace by which you are persevering in the career gains, the influence, the rewards, the fame, the money, and you're having a look at it with a realistic eye. So the sober-minded realism of Saturn is what is good for you here because you won't be deluding yourself with Neptune about what is possible or what is reasonable. And Saturn is what is practical, reasonable, and realistic. So, for example, with what's going on here, some of you, I said juice worth the squeeze. Maybe you're working too hard. Saturn works really hard to the point he's fallen in the way you work to achieve career gains. And maybe it's a harder look at what you've begun to notice about yourself starting in April and take a turn for the better. Maybe work less hard or work smart, not hard. And also, if you work in social media landscape or online, it's even more so what I just said with the Sun ruling the social media and media landscape of your third house. To continue, on the second week of the month, between the 7th and the 14th, we have some major stories playing out with Venus, for one, leaving the sign of Leo. Venus has been in Leo since June 13th, and on July the 9th, she leaves and heads into Virgo. Well, as soon as she crosses the sign boundary and moves into a sign of her fall, this is where she's not happy. This is where she's stressed out. And she's with the south node of depletion. And she's with the south node of letting go and the south node of release. What you might want to let go of in and from the home as she hits that south node entrance point around July 9th and 10th is something to do with ninth house things. Could be letting go of an addiction that you pursue in your home, but it could also be letting go of things connected to digital income, revenue from international sources, especially with the exalted moon in your 12th house as she's ingressed into the 4th. Exalted moons are also the opposite of fallen. They're on a pedestal. And so you might be looking at this sort of high level of some kind of international income, money from foreign companies, barter and trade, international client revenues, whatever it is. And you're seeing Venus fallen while she possesses that exalted moon. I think it's very juice squeeze. I think it's what's the cost benefit analysis of something. All right. So there's that. Venus can also have you surrender, release, and let go of your career path that you're currently on or some changes in your trajectory. She exalts your 10th house of career. She may also move you around the game board to let go, release, and surrender a romantic love relationship or an over-attachment to the being in charge of or controlling your children. And so there's a lot of change that you're having emerge when she moves into the 4th house. And because she's in a condition of her fall, in the 4th house with the South Node, Professor Plum in the dining room with the wrench. What about Mercury? He's ruling her. He's ruling the South Node. He's like, I'm retrograde, guys. I can't deal with what you're doing over there, but I can see you. I'm going back to the past, right? I'm plowing through financial situations, my choices maybe, money endeavors, and I'm connecting the dots to the past. Now, it could be claiming money from the past, sure, or money from the past coming your way, or past ways of making money returning to you. But it's also Mercury plowing backwards to pick up loose ends that he needs to pay attention to. All right, so I'm going to be doing a full Mercury retrograde video. Please like and subscribe. This is an intriguing one because it activates the nodal axis. So it's got a lot of important details I won't cover in the overview video. But I can see you making changes in home, money, revenue, romantic love, and children relationship. That means letting go. Well, I just dropped my microphone sideways and I need to get a better mic anyway. The Yeti Blue has been broken and cracked by now. But this is what happens when I'm doing like 12 videos in 2 days, right? I am losing my clarity, maybe, but not with you guys. I took a break, but also my proprioception is off. Sorry about that, guys. Well, the next thing I want to mention in the sky for the Gemini folk is that we know Venus is a little bit of a problem there, but she does trine the Chironic wound, and that could be positive. And she'll be trining the moon exalted in her sign too on June the 10th. So June 9th and 10th, there's a sense of a deep healing of wounds from childhood or past lives, connected in many ways to money, values, self-esteem, self-worth, and maybe even balance in life. Okay. Your spiritual life, your quietude, your creative solitude are calling you, Chiron and the moon here in the 12th. And what way have you been unable to respond? So you're diving into deeper territories here, maybe taking time off. This can look like, hey guys, it's July 10th, 9th, 10th, 11th. I'm out of here. I'm off to an ashram, a spa, a retreat. My phone will be turned off. It looks like a timeout for some of you. Next, we have on the lineup of major stories to talk about, Mercury on July 12th conjuncts the Sun in a cazimi, reset button from his retrograde, happens 6 times a year, but only 3 times in a retrograde cazimi. So on July the 12th, we want to reset your money house, earnings, resources, pocketbook, wallet, values, resources financially that you can survive and thrive on. And now we have to reset that button. Now, this reset button happens like every 7 years here from a retrogradation, right? So it's not that common. Like 7 years ago, I started my channel and Lunatic Astrology business, right? So because my progressed Gemini Sun was still in Gemini back then. And so for me, it's like, okay, so I reset my reality 7 years ago. Here I go again. What's the reset? You're resetting your money. You're resetting your resources. You're resetting your way you spend. You're resetting the way you make money. And you might look for information on July the 12th. Listen to the phone calls, text messages, emails, and conversations you have, because information may come to you. It looks like information could come to you, by the way, also from conversations you're having with people in your home, who are in your home with you, who live with you, conversations you're having with friends who are going to give you some sage like brutal honesty, or conversations you might even have with authority figures like bosses. So there's something going on where the conversations guide you. And even mentors can be here like guides, and you're going to have information coming. So look to on the 12th of July, look to information coming to you a day before, of, and after July 12th that give you some clarity, because the 6 weeks that follows this July 12th is a financial redirection reset. Well, what about the next piece of the sky? Nothing like a July 14th new moon at 21 degrees of Cancer for a fresh start in how you make money. Are you getting a theme here that you're making money, career, work, and employment, employee stuff changes? Because if you think that's what I'm talking about, you're absolutely right. Something's got to give and something has to change, and you're going to figure it out. When I see my clients with Saturn traveling through the 11th house without it being in detriment or in fall, they work too hard to make the money and success that they're achieving. So if that's true for you, maybe not all of you, maybe you're just really structured, persistent, but if you feel a little depleted, this is why you're having the new reset button in the second house. You could also reset your dietary habits and styles and how you eat and what you eat, put you on a new dietary path for better health. But whatever you're doing is starting fresh. And with Mercury retrograde, you might go back to dietary habits from the past, dietary styles from the past, money-making paths that you've taken in the past and returning to them, taking an old form of livelihood or earnings and restoring it and reviving it, revivifying it. This new moon will show you evidence of that as July 14th happens all the way through until the month that follows. Look for the clues with what I'm talking about. Right? And also expect when Mercury goes direct on July 23rd and leaves Pisces by August 9th, you'll have more clarity about what you are resetting here. in your financial directions of reality, so to speak. Okay. We're going to move past the Kazemi past the new moon. And we're going to talk next about what is happening on July the 13th, the last half of the second half of the month. On July 13th, there is a surprise, and it's caused by Venus and Uranus square. Normally, I don't care about it, like it's just Venus giving you a money or love surprise, but she is with the South Node in detriment. So the surprise, it seems to come through around the 13th, a day before or two, and maybe a day after the 13th. May feel a little bit like a shock to your system, but you'll make decisions on it right away. You'll know how to act on it immediately. This can involve a surprise or unexpected development with one of your children, because of course Venus rules the house of children. It's also going to be an unexpected surprise with a sibling too younger than you. And it can also be an unexpected surprise or development regarding something domestic in your private home life. And yet you're responding with that warrior energy, that Mars energy. You've got it together to act decisively on whatever the surprise may be. And Venus, other than pulling from the house of children, like it could be one of your children is unexpectedly pregnant, because Venus rules fertility, sperm, and ovum, and destiny is the South Node. She rules the house of children. Your lover, your sexual love partner, your dating partner, or your child could be unexpectedly pregnant, and you're finding out this news in and from your home or near your home. And so that could be all that is as well. Okay. On the third week of the month, we're moving into the whole Barbeau thing. Andre Barbeau predicted the age of glory and humanity golden age upping when we get this particular mini trine event, and more so the Barbeau basket or whatever. And I think it's very cool looking. So you'll see the basket forming. He's dead now, but he's a French astrologer who predicted the pandemic even. And this basket is a very important energy because it's extraordinarily multi-thousands of years rare, and it's going to impact all of us. So how does it work for you? Because you'll start to notice it come into formation strongly on the 14th of July and peaking by the 22nd, with emphasis on the 17th to 22nd. So that whole chunk of time, the 14th to 22nd, the third week of the month, big Barbeau basket here. Andre Barbeau's basket is alive and well. Well, first of all, part of it wants to prosper you up, because this is Jupiter having plowed put landmines of golden treasures in your money house for the year before. He now wants to spend a year making you richer. So look for possibilities that there's something going on in the third week of July where you go, oh my God, this is great. Look at how much money is coming my way. At the same time, because there's a wealth yoga, the money may be extracted from things to do with writing, publishing, teaching, lecturing, preaching, with international themes involved, with social media and marketing and selling themes involved, and that wealth thing. But there's tension here because there's contractual agreements, and there's Pluto for transformation, there's Jupiter for expansion and growth. And because Jupiter in this opposition at the top of the basket is highly, highly auspicious, I mean, he's a really good spot for you, sextiles your sun, moon, and ascendant. Most likely, this is going to also impact a more acceleration of career success. The North Node is still up here for volume up your worldly career success, as it has been for the last 18 months. But at the same time, Jupiter rules your audience, your marketplace, your clients. And that is in the basket. Why? Think of a bushel. The apples can fall easily from the 8th house of chunky money and residual money and passive income, and the house of the audience, fans, and marketplace, and from the house of employee, employers, work, and work routines, and from the 5th house of entrepreneur, creative expression. Kaboom, kaboom, boom. Everybody's falling into that basket. These are the houses that easily allow for movement into the basket. So it looks good on you financially, creatively, expressively. And during the second half of July, it really lasts the whole second half of July in its most intense form. So it's exciting. And the other thing about it is it does say, look at the flow going around the chart to the following places. You and your electric current of originality, invention, breaking free and breaking through decision-making powers. You and your incredible visionary abilities to dream something into reality in your career, ambitions, games, and long-range goals and dreams for your life. You being able to level up in the ninth house. Well, ninth house is book publishing, court and legal matters, international themes, foreign people and places, universities and colleges, teaching and lecturing and all of that. The ninth house can also be astrology. The ninth house is Dharma. Pluto wants to transform your relationship to life to put you into a powerful activation of life's purpose. Look for a contract, an agreement, or an offer coming your way, probably under the second half of July's basket. And with Mercury retrograde, maybe from somebody from your past, if that offer comes through before July the 23rd. I'll be doing a whole video for a deep dive for your sign on this basket, so please like and subscribe. All righty, what's happening next in the story of you? During the basket activation, hard work pays off. On July 19th, Mars sextiles Saturn. It means structured, disciplined actions have a benefit. Now, it means you might be working hard, but you know you're going to get a payday out of it or something good wants to happen. And if you're working hard, it is in your career. Remember I said, is the juice worth the squeeze? But perseverance, discipline, and focus in your career and its gains and your vision for your career and Mars, your actions and decisions are in a flow. You're working hard, but you're not necessarily burning out. And the likelihood of something succeeding, working out the way you want is there. And because this is happening most actively around July 19th, give it 2 days before and after, it may hook up with an offer, a contract, an agreement coming your way. Okay, hard work pays off, and there's an agreement of some sort. You can sign on the dotted line. Jupiter says it's blessed. Look for what that might be. Otherwise, hard work is happening with less hardship and more ease. Okay, that's the vibe there. And you get a backbone of support in anything you're trying to choose from friends, allies, and benefactors. This could be somebody significantly younger or older than you by 7 years. Maybe that's also where a contract could come from as well. A sibling 1 older can also be a big benefit, as well as a sibling 2 older under the sky, and what's working well around the 19th, 2 days before and 2 days after. And then, just at the last end of the 20th to the 22nd, that's when Jupiter really digs in and sticks the landing. That's when he's going to really be at a tight 4 degrees to the basket. And the basket is very powerful. Look at this, Jupiter, luck. Uranus, surprise. It's like surprising luck emerges in the sky for you on the 20th to the 22nd. So celebrate, enjoy it, clap your hands. If you believe in magic, clap your hands. This is a very good vibe personally. A lot of freedom, a lot of breakthrough going on here. Okay, let's keep on. On the 3rd week of the month, the 4th week, the last week of the month. So we're going to take you from about the 14th, 15th. The 22nd onward to the end of the month, the 22nd to the 29th. What's the story going on here? Well, the first thing is the sun wants to square Chiron. And you felt that Jupiter square Chiron. Remember, July 1st or so, I talked about it. The Chironic wound, Jupiter squared, now the sun. The sun is only squaring Chiron as it was Jupiter, July 1st, but anchoring and holding the basket more tightly, allowing for the basket to continue, allowing for it to receive. And technically, the sun is in its home kingdom, and it exalts your house of social influence, celebrity, gains of your career, wishes and dreams fulfilled. So this could be a really good social media window for literally watching your social media life, maybe even some electric currents of breakthroughs for you in social media, online world, social media environments, teaching, learning, websiting, Zooming, whatever you're doing. At the same time, I'm mentioning that, though, the sun, who does exalt your 11th house, is with Jupiter, right? Sun in his own kingdom. Jupiter is Jupiter. That's a positive indication of success in 3rd house matters. Short distance travel, sibling relationships, success in applying for schools and educational stuff, success in anything you want to do with divining, scrying. This is the house of the fortune tellers, Demetra George 101. So keep all of those stories in your back pocket for exciting times in the last week of July. Well, the sun is healing a Chironic wound about self-undoing and being your own worst enemy. Prioritize self-care introspection and alone time, and the sun will support greater success here. Go within or go without. Mercury sextiles Venus, which is happy news on July 24th. This is some good news coming your way, and Mercury is stationed direct, so he's very powerful at 16 degrees, Venus at 16 Virgo. Well, she's fallen, she's still Venus. Good money news is probably what I'd say around July the 24th. So obviously, when you get a Venus hookup to Mercury, Mercury brings you information and Venus brings you good things. Good news about potentially things going on in your domestic life. Good news about or for one of your children. Those are narratives. Good news about a firstborn child, especially, but also could be good news, a firstborn child, but children in general. And after the good news hits you financially or home connected, maybe you got some of you under the sky could like be looking to buy or sell a property, and the good news is coming your way regarding that as well. Or possession for your home or buy a car. Good news is here as well. When are we talking, guys? We're talking, like I said, good news time, July 24th, a day or two before or after. Then we see the sun, as I said, anchoring it all. Saturn turns retrograde on the 26th, new video coming out just about that. And then on July the 29th, there's a sexy Venus square Mars, and well, the nodes are changing their sign. So the nodes will move around the 27th into Leo and into Aquarius. Big video coming out about it. This is going to activate a whole new destiny play where you're going to move into greater expansion internationally, greater success in ninth house matters, aligning with purpose and dharma, transforming reality, and surrendering and releasing third house things. Again, we'll be doing a video on it, but there's a nodal change at this time. And then as we move into that nodal shift, the first thing is we notice Venus and Mars are cosmic lovers entangled in sexy mutual attraction. There can be romance for you on this. You may be chasing after, going after, deciding about a romantic opportunity, and it would be close to home or in the home or from the home. Venus rules your sex and romance house. Why is Venus fallen here? It doesn't mean the worst case scenario. She's no longer with the node, which doesn't complicate it anymore, but it would be something along the lines of maybe there's complications, right? Maybe the person is too close to home. Right? Maybe it's not somebody you should be in a relationship with. Maybe it's the neighbor next door who's married. I don't know, especially with the trine to a cold and distant moon in the house of secret love. And so you could be feeling an attraction. You could be sensing something wanting to happen. I'd wait till Venus gets into Libra to pursue it, but you might just notice a forbidden attraction or an attraction close to home. That could be a thing going on, or you have the power and purpose and passion to exit pleasures in and from the home that cause self-undoing, right? You just know how to cut away from those and move into a different direction. Again, we're looking at July 29th, and we're doing a separate video on that for my week ahead videos. So we're not done yet. This is just touching base. And then lastly, at the end of the month, the full moon at 6 Aquarius. This started with an eclipse in February. So it's all very turbocharged with the new moon eclipse, February 28th, in the sign of Aquarius. And where is that? This is your Dharma house. And now we have a full light here on the 29th of the month. I guess I simply say there's an illumination of what that eclipse was for. And because that eclipse had a nodal axis to the 10th back in February, it's about career and it's about purpose and it's about wisdom, and it's about learning, and it's about knowledge, and it's about spiritual life, and it's about book publishing and international themes. Look to the February eclipse a month before, 3 months after, for clues to what was trying to start up here for you. And look as well to how it will spotlight it. And over the next month, from July 29th, at a month, you're going to have more clarity and more visual understanding, like a light is shining in your 11th, 9th house. So you can tie that to the February eclipse and see where it takes you. I think, for example, like I have a book publishing agent waiting in the waiting room for me for like 3 years. I think Eileen and I were talking in February, March. Okay. So again, discussing the book I haven't written or proposal I haven't created. So this would take me back into, okay, damn it, big spotlight here, contracts and agreements, destiny and expansion, writing is down here. So I'm giving you an example of how that could come back full circle. And this is a moon at 6 degrees of Aquarius. So if your Gemini Sun, Moon, and Rising is 0 to 10 degrees, it really does benefit you as a full light fire, earth, water, air trine towards you. So it's a positive lunation, blessed by Jupiter at witnessing it. Okay. So it's a good one for writing, traveling, communicating, marketing, selling, learning, teaching, pilgrimages, all of that stuff. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. I will see you guys in my next video. Come to Sky Reader. I'd love to see you there. Everyone take very good care.
Lunatic astrology.